Well, by any standards, it's a trip almost no world leaders would ever make, an official visit to Hamas, who so control now over Gaza. But remarkably, that's what the head of Qatar's royal family did today. Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani was openly reinforcing his tiny state's push for significant new power in the Middle East. And that influence is funded by the natural gas exported and consumed by many of us around the world. Well, let's go live on the hub to Doha and Michael Stevens, who's with the Royal United Services Institute office in Qatar. Michael Stevens, thanks for joining me. What is Qatar's ambition at the moment?
Well, I think this visit to Gaza is part of an extended program to push Qatari influence around the region and around the Arab world. I think that the Emir, Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani, believes that the economic power of his country and also his position as a diplomat who believes that he can bring the Arab world together should be exploited for the benefit of Arab people across the region. So what you see is an increasing policy from Qatar to interfere in some way in Syria and in Libya militarily in terms of assisting rebel forces there, and also diplomatically like he did in Lebanon in 2008, and also like he did earlier with Hamas and Fatah this year. So this is part of a consistent policy by Qatar to raise its profile in the Arab world and to have a say in Arab affairs.
But what about its likely long-term influence? It's got gas, it's very rich, but barely 400,000 people.
I'd say less than 400,000 people. I think it's more close to about 250,000 people, which shows you just the extent that this country really is playing on the big stage. I think if you know, you're referring to the gas and the hydrocarbon sector, they've got at least 30 years in which they can keep making money off that particular sector before they have to think about diversifying their economy. In the short term, of course, their influence is growing by the day. In the long term, I think that remains to be seen. There will be bigger players coming to the stage. I think Egypt and Saudi Arabia will start to take on more of the region's responsibilities. But at the moment, with the Arab Spring the way it is, there's actually a need for a small dynamic state that doesn't present a military threat to some of the countries that it's involving itself with. And I think actually Qatar's small size in that respect helps it, because it doesn't appear like it can threaten overtly any state with which it's trying to work.
How active is Qatar behind the scenes using diplomacy and its big financial muscle in the region?
Very active. I would say that excluding what it's doing in Europe in terms of its investment in real estate there, you're looking at huge business investments in Turkey. Obviously, it's well known that they're aiding the rebel forces in Syria against the President Bashar al-Assad now, and they've been doing that for quite some time. They're working with Saudi Arabia, obviously, on that front. They've extended their influence into the Palestinian question over the last few years, and I think that influence is probably going to grow, particularly now that the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt is in power, and Qatar tends to have a sort of pro-Muslim Brotherhood type leaning, and Hamas is an offshoot of that. And of course the thing is that they're looking at all parts of the Arab world that they can engage in. So you see things in Mali, in Mauritania, in Morocco even, that there's investments there. I think that in the end of the day, you know, that they can't be the sole arbiter of Arab affairs, but they have tried to play a bigger role, and you can see that in terms of their chairing of Arab League meetings this year, and they've been very successful in playing from the front in that respect.
Michael Stevens of the Royal United Services Institute Regional Office in Qatar, thanks for joining me here on The Hub.